Hey, what's up guys? This is Arthur from PalacBoxing. Today I'm going to walk you through 3 different variations of how you can use your left hand to measure up your opponent for your right hand. So the very first thing you need to think of is, as you're getting set up to hit the bag, when you're measuring your opponent with your lead hand, in this case I'm an orthodox fighter, as I measure up my opponent, what I want to think of doing is I want to create enough distance between my opponent and myself, and that I could hold them at bay with my lead hand to set up my rear hand. In this case, it will be my right hand. And the purpose that you want to measure your opponent is to keep them at bay. And when you keep them away from you, you're able to not only create enough distance for your right hand, but you're also able to hold them for a split second, set up a shot, and then drop that right hand. So the very first thing that you want to think of is, you're not throwing a jab, all right? So the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to throw a jab like this. So what you want to do is you want to set and drop that right hand, all right? So the very first thing you want to do is you want to get in your boxing stance. You want to set, your foot will step in, your boxing stance will slightly widen, and as you hold your opponent here for a brief second, drop that right hand. So as you're walking through this, what you want to think of is, you're not punching like this, you're not tapping the bag, all right? You're in your boxing stance, your hand stays out there for a brief second. So basically, you're setting a target. Think of it like a bow and arrow, kind of. So you're kind of pulling back, staying in your boxing stance, and then dropping that right hand as you hold your opponent at bay for a split second. The next variation of measuring your opponent with your lead hand is simply the same thing, but instead of going up top with the shot, you're going to go straight down to the body. So you're going to measure, drop down with the right hand. Try it again. Measure, drop down with the right hand. And you'll notice that as I measure, soon as my hand comes back, I drop that right hand, my level drops, I drop down to shoot that right hand to the body. So one more time. Let's go down a little bit lower. And so what will also happen is, as you measure, sometimes your foot will step out, and sometimes you'll slide with your foot to get closer to your opponent. So basically, as you're measuring your opponent for your rear hand, what you're going to do is you're going to measure, your foot's going to slide in so you get closer to your opponent, and then when you drop that right hand to the body, you're close enough to drop that right hand, put enough force behind it, and catch your opponent off guard. The third variation of the measure is basically, you're going to measure, shoot your right hand up top, measure, and then shoot your right hand once again. So it's kind of like a 1-2, 1-2, but you're not landing that left hand as a jab. So simply stated, you're going to measure, drop, that's it. And if you want to move into your opponent with your right hand, you can do that as well. So let's try it one more time. Try it one more time. And so that's the beauty of measuring, dropping a shot, measuring again, and then dropping a shot. Because sometimes when you're in the ring with an opponent, if you try and throw 1-2, 1-2, what will happen is that your opponent will crowd you because you landed that first right hand against them, and they're going to try and crowd you. But if you could keep them at bay for a split second by stiff arming your jab out there, measuring them, and then dropping that right hand, creates enough distance and enough time for you to catch your opponent off guard. What are your thoughts? Is this something you can use in the gym, use in the ring? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe to PalacBoxing. I appreciate your time. Have an amazing day. And thanks to my co-star today, my little kid.